The Librarian's Secret. The soft hum of silence filled the chapel library as Sarah adjusted the last book on the shelf, her fingers brushing against the worn leather spines. It was 9:18 p.m. on Wednesday, May 21st, 2025, and the world outside the stained glass windows had settled into the quiet of night. The library, a small room adjacent to the chapel's main hall, was her sanctuary, a place of order amidst the chaos of her thoughts. As the chapel's librarian, Sarah had spent years tending to these books. But tonight, her routine was interrupted by a discovery that stirred something deep within her. She noticed a folded note tucked inside the worn Bible left on the reading table, its edges frayed from frequent use. Unfolding it, she recognized Daniel's neat handwriting. Why does God allow this struggle? The words struck her like a whisper from her own soul. She had seen Daniel's quiet presence in the chapel over the months. His nightly prayers by the candle, a ritual she observed from a distance. Now his question echoed her own unspoken battle, a struggle with lust that haunted her late into the night. Sarah sank into the wooden chair, the creak of its joints mirroring the weight in her chest. Since her early 20s, she had wrestled with forbidden thoughts, images of affection and desire that clashed with the purity she strove to uphold. These thoughts often crept in during the stillness of night, after the chapel emptied and she was alone with her duties. She would pray for them to vanish, but they returned, persistent as the tide. Shame had become her companion, a shadow that followed her even as she organized hymns or dusted the altar. Was this a punishment from God, she wondered, or a test she was failing? Her eyes drifted back to Daniel's note. The vulnerability in his words softened her resolve. She picked up a pen, her hand trembling slightly as she wrote a reply. Perhaps God allows the struggle to teach us reliance on Him. The words felt inadequate, yet they carried a truth she was only beginning to grasp. She had spent years trying to suppress her desires, believing they marked her as unworthy. But what if, as the note suggested, they were meant to draw her closer to God? The thought was unsettling, yet it flickered like a candle in the darkness of her mind. Sarah placed the note back in the Bible, leaving it open on the table where Daniel would find it. As she worked, her thoughts turned to her own story. Growing up in a devout family, she had been taught that lust was a sin to be eradicated. Yet as she matured, those teachings clashed with the human emotions she couldn't control. Late nights alone in the library became a battleground, her mind replaying moments of longing, her heart pleading for forgiveness. She had confided in no one, not even the pastor, fearing judgment. The secret weighed on her, a burden she carried in silence. The library clock ticked past 9:30 p.m., its steady rhythm a reminder of time slipping away. Sarah paused, gazing at the rows of books, stories of faith, redemption, and struggle. She pulled out a volume of Psalms, flipping to Psalm 51, verse 10. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. The verse had always been her refuge, but tonight it felt different. What if purity wasn't the absence of desire, but the choice to turn to God despite it? The idea unsettled her, yet it offered a glimmer of hope. As she shelved the book, her mind wandered to Daniel. She wondered if he, too, felt the shame she carried. Her reply to him wasn't just for his benefit. It was a lifeline she threw to herself. If God allowed this struggle, perhaps it was to teach her humility, to remind her that even in weakness, she was not abandoned. The thought brought a tear to her eye, which she quickly wiped away. She adjusted her glasses, straightened her posture, and resumed her work, the rustle of pages, a soft hymn in the quiet room. Before leaving, Sarah lit a small candle on the library desk, a gesture she rarely allowed herself. Its flame danced, casting a warm glow on the Bible and the note within. She whispered a prayer, not for the struggle to end, but for the strength to face it. As she locked the library door and stepped into the cool night air, the weight on her shoulders felt a little lighter. The secret was still hers, but now it was shared with Daniel, and perhaps, in some mysterious way, with God.